Good morning, good morning, good morning. We have MLB action today. We have some NBA. I will talk real briefly about the college basketball season as well. A lot to get into. We're going to go really quickly today's video. Let's get into it. This is the Free Three.
Mlb, I also love your YouTube videos. I watched them while I was gone. That was fire.
But getting paid because yesterday we had a full sweep. Mike going under, that was just icing on the cake. Why are we going to go in such a weak AFC South? Unless we have the NBA Blowout Association today.
Knicks take a 1-point lead with 13 seconds.
When you hear the sirens, you know what that means.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
What is up, my friends? It is your boy Noble Living back with another DUIF Bets video. I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we just try to get to the bag together and make some money. You guys see the mic, so you know what that means. I'm actually on the road, so we got to give you plays though, because every day we're still betting, every day we're still making money. I do appreciate you guys for tapping in. College basketball's kind of slowed down a little bit because we got our final four teams. All number one seeds. I mean, are we excited about that? I don't know if you guys are, but for me, I'm not really excited. But the good news is we still do have some 2 national championship futures pending on Houston and Florida, so that can make it a really good kind of March for us. Hopefully, this has been a good March for you guys. It's been up and down for me. We're going to go through a quick recap here and then also dive into the games for today. We're going to go really fast in today's video, guys, because I actually do have to run. But we have 3 best bets on the way. All money line, all parlays. They're not all money line parlays, but they're going to be all parlays, 2 team steam. So we're going to cook that up today, get to plus 100 value, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about the games over the weekend. All right. So over the weekend, it wasn't our best day, or weekend, I should say, but it was overall something I wanted you guys to take a look at in terms of like angles, right? So you can see yesterday we finished a little bit down on the juice, and then over the weekend we finished just barely up on the juice, and then over the last 30 days, again, it's still been a very successful March for us. If I pull up specifically some of the picks that we were able to do over the weekend, I wasn't able to generate yesterday's picks, but yesterday's picks weren't too bad. We had Auburn on the money line, but we lost on Washington. I don't know why I threw the Capitals in there. I just threw them in there because they were a big favorite, and then Ovechkin going for the record. I should have just went the Knicks there and called it a day. They didn't include some of the other bets from yesterday, such as Auburn first half and Houston first half. That cashed. Houston full game. That cashed. On Saturday, you could see we got the bet plus 100 with Imanaga on the Cubs. We got another 2-team steam with Florida and Duke right here. So that's really been the strategy, guys. Really just looking for plus 100 value, whether it's taking first half money lines, whether it's taking full game money lines. And some of these, I've actually been throwing in some of the women games as well. As we can see, South Carolina made it to their 5th straight NCAA Final Four yesterday. UCLA made it to the Final Four yesterday. Both are number 1 seeds. We see UConn today. We see Texas is a number 1 seed today. So don't be scared, guys, to kind of switch it up, throw some teams in there to get to plus 100 or damn near close. So this way you're not laying too much juice, and this way if it does lose, you can still kind of recover and rebound. All right, so that's kind of what we've been looking at here. I'll kind of go more in depth tomorrow in terms of exactly what we've been looking at. We did cash our future on Houston to make the Final Four. It was only plus 125, so it wasn't like the best future that we had, but I mean, you couldn't really get a lot of value on futures this year unless you kind of did some national championships. So we still have Houston to win the national championship pending at plus 700, and then we also have Florida to win the national championship at plus 300. So we still have 2 of those. So hopefully we can get those wins against Auburn and Duke, and we should be good to go. All right. So for today's video, I'm not going to touch on college basketball, but I do want to talk to you guys real quickly about these games. This is the CBC, the College Basketball Crown. These games are going on today. You can see we start at 3 o'clock, and then we got one at 5:30, one got at 8:30, one at 11. I don't know what to take of these games. I read a few reports from the coaches, from the players, players. I read a few articles about like what the game plan and the strategy is. None of these teams really care. They're going to really just roll the ball out there and just see what happens. Most of these teams have been on spring break over the last few weeks. They haven't played any basketball, maybe got some shots up. They haven't really practiced. I read a few reports that like some of the teams like Nebraska started practicing again like late last week. So take that with a grain of salt. A lot of the analysts and experts are saying take the overs for the first few games, and then defense should probably start showing up a little bit later on in the tournament. This is an NIL tournament. This is the first time we're getting one of these. It's a huge incentive for the players in terms of to get paid, but I don't know necessarily what the motivation is there besides that. So pump your brakes, guys. Don't go too crazy on the CBC. If I had to take one over today, it would be in the Nebraska-Arizona State game, as both of those offenses are pretty good, and they do like to play normally fast-paced in general. I do lean Utah as they are the better team against Butler, but again, we don't know exactly what motivations these teams have, so just take that with a grain of salt in terms of the CBC. All right, so for today, let's talk about the NBA and let's talk about Major League Baseball real quickly. We're going to dive into player props in the Major League Baseball slate throughout the season, so make sure you guys stick with us. I need a little bit more data, all right? Like right now, I feel like I'm just shooting blindly if I'm taking pitching outs or if I'm taking hitter parlays and stuff like that. I just need a little bit more data, or I'm going off of last season, which can be hit or miss. So if you guys tapped into the live stream, I do appreciate you guys for tapping in right now to the live stream. Good to see you this morning, Day. Good to see you, Extraordinary Picks. Here's an early money line parlay for you guys. I'm taking the Twins on the money line. Let me zoom out real quick. And I'm also taking the Phillies on the money line. That gets you to plus 111. So I'm taking both of those guys in my early money line parlay. You can see this game starts at 2 o'clock Eastern time. This game starts at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm going to lock that in for our first best bet of the day, but that is not one of the first official free 3 plays. One of the first ones is going to be a later parlay later on in the day with the Mets on the money line and the Rays on the money line, and you can see that gets you to plus 133. Now, if you want to take all 4 teams in a money line parlay, be my guest. That is typically what I do in baseball. I normally go like 2 legs, and I go 3 legs, and I go 4 legs. Now I'll go like 200 on the 2-legger, I'll go like 100 on the 3-legger, and like 50 to 75 on the 4-legger. Obviously, if one team lists on the 2, then that ruins the 3-4. So you got to practice bankroll management. But I'm only really doing that with games that I'm super confident in. But sometimes you can get to the point where you've got like plus 300, plus 250, plus 400 in baseball. And you've got 4 or 3 really big favorites that are parlayed together. Now, for these 2 matchups between the Mets and Marlins and the Pirates and Rays, both of these are more of plays on or fades on the opposing starting pitchers. So if we can look real quickly, the Mets have started off the year 1-2. Meanwhile, the Marlins are 3-1. But the Marlins are selling Carl Quantrill to the mound, and the Mets are sending David Peterson to the mound. David Peterson was probably like the biggest surprise story of last season for most bettors. His first like 12 starts, he didn't lose at all. Like the Mets did not lose a game, I should say. He didn't. Not all of his games were wins, but in terms of the Mets, if they played on David Peterson starting, his first like 12, 13 starts, he got the W. Now, there was a little bit of regression that was due, and down the stretch of the season, we saw that, and he started getting hit more. Obviously, you get more film, your arm starts getting more fatigued and tired, so that kind of contributed to why, towards the end of the season, David Peterson fell off a little bit. But to start the year, he was very strong. I'm expecting the same thing this year. Meanwhile, Kyle Quantrill, if you remember him, he was one of the worst pitchers in baseball all last season, but that's probably because he played for the Colorado Rockies, a team that, 1, doesn't give you a whole lot of run support, and 2, you got to be able to get run support at Coors Field because you're giving up a lot of points. So that's really one of the reasons why I want to fade Kyle Quantrill here, because he's playing for a Marlins team that is 3-1, but they're not really that good, and they had a pretty, I don't want to say easy opening series, but they played the Pirates in the opening series, and a team that struggles offensively, that is the Pirates. And now the Mets, who played the Astros in their last series, kind of gets a fresh restart to kind of get this high offense that has a whole lot of expectations with them, with Juan Soto and Pete Alonso and Lindor. We're expecting a lot of things from these guys, and against the Astros, going 1-2, I mean, that's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. But against the Marlins, at NL East divisional foe, we need to see you grab the win. I know it's on the road, but for me, this is just one of those things where the Mets are the better team. This is a divisional matchup, and we should see them grab the win real quickly. Now, if I want to go real quickly to dive into the numbers a little bit more, I just want you guys to see real quickly what Quantrill, let's just go to his stats for 2024. You could see last year he had a 4.9 ERA, and then when he was on the Guardians, he wasn't much better at a 5.24 ERA. He had 3.38 ERA the year before. So ever since, he kind of made his major league debut, and he got with the Guardians here, I won't say debut, but he got started with the Guardians at 1.9 2.84. The next year, 2.89. And then after that, it kind of just started going back downhill from there. So for me, it's just really hard for me to back this Kyle Quantrill, especially with this Marlins offense that doesn't have a whole lot of weapons here. And then when we look at David Peterson real fast, if we go look at his stats, again, last year, 10-3, 2.9 ERA with 101 strikeouts. You can't beat that. That's not too bad. And yeah, last year might have been an outlier year for him, but I like him. I think he's the better pitcher, and I think he's got the better offensive support. So we're going to lock that in. Mets on the money line. Now the second pick is really going to be a fade against the Pirates, that we have not really seen anything thus far that's told us to take them. Their offense is sputtered. They have not been able to score runs, and if you're not scoring runs against the Marlins, okay, I get it. Sandy Alcantara, that's their ace. But after that, you guys played a 4-game series, and you only were able to grab 1 win. And if we go a little bit further down, let's see here if they can show me I don't know why they got all these ads up here. Give me 1 second. I want to go to the recent games. I want you guys just to see. Here we go. 2 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs, 4 runs. So it's not like they're scoring a whole bunch of runs here that gives you a whole lot of support. Meanwhile, for the Rays, yes, they started against the Rockies, a team that they should have beaten, 6-4, 3-2, and they lost this one 1-2. But I like the fact that the Rays are at home. They're still getting used to that new home field, because remember, they're not playing at the Trop this year. They're playing at George Steinbrenner Field there in Tampa Bay, which is an outdoor stadium, very different than the indoor stadium that they're very used to. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get used to it. But the Rays are one of the teams. If you're tapped into the live stream, again, thank you for tapping in. Make a note of this. The Rays are one of the teams that you guys want to take at the beginning of the season. Why? Because their first 50 games, 35, 40 of their first 50 games are at home. But then the back half of the season, the remaining 85 games, 60 of those are on the road. So that's one of those kind of scheduling spots that you guys want to pay attention to, because we're going to get a lot of value on the Rays at home early, and then we might lose it down the stretch, which might help us out from an odds perspective because they're going to be on the road a lot. But that also can pay a lot into fatigue, not sleeping in your own bed, those long road trips, especially going out west, going deep up north to Boston. So just keep that in mind. Right? So I think for me, the Rays are going to be a team that I'm going to look to take several times earlier on this season, as they're at home, as they're going to be pitching at home, as they get more familiar with that home stadium as well. And like I said, the Pirates, they're not giving me a whole lot to get confident on. And then their pitcher today, I don't even know how to say this name, Moldansky. I don't even know how to say that. But if you haven't... If you don't know who he is, it's because he hasn't pitched in the majors for real. He pitched a little bit last year in the majors, and he literally just got announced as the Pirates' 5th starter a few days ago. So they were kind of deciding between him and another guy, and they decided to go with him. He is a reliever, so this is going to be more of a bullpen game for the Pirates. So we expect him to pitch maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 innings, and then after that we go to the bullpen. And for me, I like that. I'm a fan of bullpen games when you have a strong bullpen, but the Pirates don't have a strong bullpen. So for me, the Rays, you're going to see several different arms, which means several different opportunities for you guys. Drew Rasmussen, or I don't even know how to say his name, Rasmussen, he's not been bad. He was pretty solid last year for them, but he's also a reliever, 2.83 ERA last year, but he is somebody who can go a little bit deeper into the rotation in terms of 2, 3, 4 innings. And keep in mind that the Rays were the team that kind of invented the bullpen game as well. So they're a little bit more experienced with pitching relievers, and they get typically more long relievers, middle relievers for this exact reason. So this is just my opening money line parlay for you guys, the Mets and Rays in baseball. All right, so that's what we're gonna go with for our first pick of the day. Let's see, extraordinary pitch. LOL, not sleeping in your own bed is funny but true though. Yeah, man, it is true, man. When you're not hitting the ball right, when you're in a slump and you're trying to snap out of it, and you got to go on a road trip from Oakland, and even the Braves, right? The Braves, they started off the year 0-4, right, against the Padres, and now they got to go travel to Los Angeles Dodgers. That's hard to get up for. That's hard when you're in a slump, and that actually leads to my second money line parlay of the day, which is going to be our Los Angeles parlay. Let's go Dodgers on the money line, and let's go Lakers on the money line. Now, the reason why we're going with the Lakers here is they're taking on the Houston Rockets here in the late night game. So this is like a 10 o'clock start for both of these games. So you guys can lock this one in. You guys see we get +1. No, this is not right, because I think that might be the total. Did I add the total here? Hold on 1 second. Yeah, that's definitely the total. All right. Here we go. Moneyline parlay. That looks about right. 126 on this one. So we're going to go Lakers and we're going to go Dodgers. Now, real quickly on the Dodgers, I just mentioned that they're playing the Braves. The Braves started off the season 0-4. This is just more of a fade on the Braves, okay? They're hurt. They're banged up bad. They have no Ozuna. They have no Matt Olson. Austin Riley, they're banged up really bad. No Spencer Strider. They're going to be a team later on this season that they're going to be picking up a whole lot of dubs. But right now, it's really tough. And when you look at the Dodgers are the only team in baseball that can be 5-0, and they got Tyler Glass now going to the mound with no starts. Like, that's ridiculous. Tyler Glass now, the former Cy Young candidate. Like, this is a guy who's a stud. I mean, he's probably one of the best arms in the Dodgers rotation, if not the best arm. And to think about it, he has not even pitched yet, and the Dodgers are 5-0. I'm just going to keep hammering the Dodgers money line. Obviously, they're not going to win every game, but until they lose, I'm going to go with it. And the Braves are sending Garrett Holmes to the mound, and he's another relief pitcher. He's maybe going to go 1 or 2 innings, and then after that, they're turning it over to the bullpen. And again, a Dodgers lineup that's going to see new arms, Mookie Betts, Ohtani, and this is a Dodgers team that don't even have like Freeman back yet. So just think about that, how deep this Dodgers team really can be. So when we're getting them at minus 200, before we're going to get like, there's going to be times in the season where they play like the Rockies, it's going to be like minus 400, minus 350, and I'm not going to lay that type of juice. But right now, I'm willing to do it with a Braves team that's slumping a little bit. Obviously, it's the beginning of this year. It's the first series, so don't overreact to the first series, guys, because there have been times, even last year, the Dodgers got swept in their first series. They started off the years 12-11. They still went on to go win 90-plus games and win the World Series. So we've seen this story before. It's a very long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But for me, with Tyler Glass now on the mound, it's pretty hard for me to fade the Dodgers. He's just a better pitcher. And the Braves, they just don't have some of their best hitters in the lineup right now. Now, for the Lakers, if we go to the NBA standings, let's take a look at what's going on right now. The NBA season's wrapping up. You can see here that we played about 74 of the 82 games or so. So we got about 10 games or less. The Lakers are sitting right now here in the 4 seed, but there's still a lot to play for. Why? Because the Grizzlies are on their ass. The Warriors are on their ass. The Timberwolves are right here. And then keep in mind, you drop 2, 3, 4 games, you're going from a sure lock into the play-in. And LeBron has played in the play-in in the last few years. And I think this is the year that he's kind of tired of playing in that play-in. I know he says it's the playoffs. He doesn't care as long as he can just get in. He's just going to play the games that are in front of him. Makes sense. But if you can get extra rest as a vet, if you can go without having to play the extra games, I think they're going to do that. And every game matters at this point. Now, the Lakers are at home against the Rockets. And the only reason I really like the Lakers here to grab the W is not only have they been decent, 5-5 in the last few games, the Rockets are 9-1 in their last 10. So a little bit of regression is due. But the Rockets played last night against the Suns, right? The late night game against the Suns. Yep, they won that game 148-109. Now, it helped that Kevin Durant did get hurt in that game. Dillon Brooks did get ejected in that game as well, so he should be a little bit more rested to go against Luka and LeBron. But I think just a situational spot, and then if you look at the remaining schedule for the Lakers real quickly, I just want you guys to see this, what they have coming down the pipeline. So they have to win the games that they can win. So, hold on, let's see, scroll down. They've got the Rockets, they've got the Warriors, they've got New Orleans, they've got OKC twice, they've got Dallas, the Rockets, and then Portland. So they do not have an easy cakewalk going down the regular stretch of the season. So for them, you can beat a team at home on the second night of a back-to-back after you just picked up a win against the Grizzlies and you had a day of rest in between. I like that. So that's why I really like the Lakers here. Then you get a few more days of rest before you take on the Warriors again at home. And then you got the back-to-back with the New Orleans. And then they'll probably lose these 2 games here or maybe split one of these. Dallas, they're not looking like, they're undefeated when Anthony Davis plays. They're 5-0 when Anthony Davis plays. So he plays again tonight. So we don't know. It's not a guaranteed win. And then you got the Rockets again here. And then Portland, they're scrappy as well. So for me, this is just one of those lays where it's a situational spot. Rockets coming off the second night of a back-to-back. Lakers need to grab a win. A lot of playoff positioning and seeding is on the line here. I like that. We're going to lock that in. The Los Angeles parlay for the second best bet of the day. Now, for our third and final bet of the day, I was mentioning the city of Los Angeles. So we might as well go to the NBA and take a look at the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, you guys know I like the Clippers. They are one of my sleepers teams in the West. I'm a big Kawhi Leonard fan. James Harden is probably one of my favorite basketball players of all time. So I'm really biased towards the Clippers, if I'm being honest. But they're good. They're 42-32. They've dealt with a ton of injuries this year. They have to deal with Kawhi Kawhi's load management, and they still find ways to win games, or at least be competitive. We saw them last night against the Cavaliers. They lost the game by 5 points, but they covered the 7.5-point spread, so they've been competitive. So what's the bet that I'm going with against the Orlando Magic? I don't want to take the Clippers on the money line, even though I do think they're going to win the game on the second out of the back-to-back. But we're just going to go with our build or lay of the day. It's a little ugly. It's a little cheeky. Same team. But I'm going to give you guys my mindset here, okay? So we're going to go Harden, 18-plus points, Kawhi, 20-plus points. Now, this is the mindset here. I did not know who to choose. Let's go to Doink Sports real quickly, and let's go look at some of the game logs. So let's go look at James Harden first. You guys know I've been tailing James Harden a lot recently on his points line. You can see his points is at 20.5 right here. And he's gone over this number in 8 of the last 10 games, averaging close to 25 points a game, including another 24 last night against the Cavaliers. So for me, given the fact that he's just been consistently an offensive weapon, and this doesn't even include the 50-point game that he had several weeks ago. I mean, James Harden's playing some of his best basketball of the season right now. Now, if we scroll over real quickly and we look at the Magic's defense against point guards, they've been pretty solid, only giving about 15 points per game. Only 2 of the last 10 starting point guards have gone over this number. But one of the reasons why we have like this is if we go to Fantasy Pros real quickly and we look at the points that the point guard position has been given up, you can see the Orlando Magic are top 5, top 6. That's why we've been hammering this spot point guards with the Orlando Magic recently. If you guys tapped into the channel last week, you guys know we were on Luka and LaMelo in that situational spot. So this is just the starting point guard numbers though, guys. So that's why you have to kind of take some of these things with a grain of salt. Sometimes you're going to look at the number and say, okay, well, starting point guards have only gone over 2 of the last 10 games. No, but why would you take it? But if we click on similar players here, now we can find players similar to Harden. You can see that number goes from 2 out of 10 to 7 out of 10. And on average, 26 points per game, the Orlando Magic is giving up to players similar to James Harden. So we're not talking about just starting point guards here. Like, let's look at the difference here. The starting point guards of guys like Keon Ellis, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jordan Poole, Fred VanVleet. Nothing wrong with these guys. Darius Garland, Mike Conley. Those are a little bit different of offensive players than James Harden. We got to go a little bit of a better sample size, similar to guys like LaMelo, like Luka, like Dame, like Quickly, like Steph. That is a little bit more of James Harden's type, and you can see how the numbers go up there. So that is why I like James Harden. If you want to take the 20.5 points, be my guest. I teased it down to the 18, and I did this on DraftKings. If you want to do the same bet, same game parlay on DraftKings, you can see that gets you to plus like 106. I'm going to plug in the bet a little bit later. But now, why would I add Kawhi Leonard here? Because Kawhi did not play last night. Harden played last night against the Cavaliers. Kawhi didn't. Kawhi's rested. And because Kawhi's rested, look at the numbers for Kawhi over the last 10 games. Averaging 25 points per game, gone over the number of 8 of the last 10. His line's at 22.5. I'm not opposed for you just taking the 22.5. So if you want to take Harden at 20.5, if you want to take Kawhi at 22.5, be my guest. I just teased it down a little bit because I'm like, I don't know which one of the guys is going to go crazy, and I'm expecting both of them to score. I just don't know which one. And with Kawhi getting the rest yesterday, I think it could really be Kawhi. And if you look at some of these numbers here from a minute perspective, he's still not playing on the back-to-back nights, but he only had 26 minutes last time against the Nets, which was back on the 28th. So the last time that Kawhi really played was close to 5 games ago against the Knicks on the 26th of March. Today's the 31st. And you can see 40 minutes, 36, 35, 26, 35. So he should be on the court for at least 36 minutes. And given the fact that he's got 17, 18 field goal attempts in that time, in that span, that gives me the confidence to say, you know what? He's going to be on the court. He's going to be shooting buckets. Or getting buckets. He should be able to get 20 points. I mean, look, he's shooting 3-pointers. He's getting to the free throw line. He's getting a good amount of volume in there. I like that. Now, again, when you look at the numbers on the defensive side for the Magic, it's a little bit skewed because the Magic defensively are known as a strong team. You can see here, only 15.5 points per game, and only one small forward has gone over this number in the last 10 games, that being LeBron James at 24 points. But when you look at similar players, you can see how now the number goes up a little bit because now we've got players like Michael Porter Jr., you've got players like Andrew Wiggins who've been able to go over the number. And then when you look at, again, the sample size, guys like RJ Barrett, they're not a bucket. DeAndre Hunter, they're not a bucket. Chris Middleton, he's no longer a bucket. They're not the same type of caliber player that Kawhi is in. And again, playoff positioning, seeding, that matters matters right now. If we just go back, let me go back to the standings real quickly. This is what I'm going to be handicapping off of. Teams that have something to play for right now at this point in the season. You can see the Clippers right now in a playing spot. You don't think they're motivated to win a few games to give Kawhi a little bit of extra rest to kind of knock the Warriors down, maybe the Grizzlies down? The Grizzlies play the Celtics tonight. They're underdogs. They might lose that game at home. That's a perfect spot for you to move up a game. So for me, with the situational spots on the line, Lakers playing tonight against a team they should beat, the Grizzlies playing against the Celtics, a team that they probably are not going to win against, Clippers playing the Magic, a team that they could beat as well. I want the stars to step up in key spots, and I think that's what we're going to be handicapping, and that's what we're going to go with. All right, guys? So this is what we're going with for our first, for our 3 best bets of the day. Kawhi 20 plus, James Harden 18 plus. That should get us to about plus 105. You guys can play around with the numbers. If you don't want to take Kawhi at Harden at 18, if you want to take him down to 15, do that. And then you could also add Luka for 25 tonight. His line is super high. It's like 29.5. But I do like that as well. I do like his line for like 25 points. I like Ja against the Celtics tonight, 20 plus. They score a ton of points at home. The total's like 240 or something. So those are a few other leans that you guys could take. You could do Ja for 20. You could do Desmond Bane for 15. You could do Tatum for 20. You could do Harden for 15. You could do Luka for 20 to 25. So those are a few other guys that you could take a look at if you don't want to kind of do the same 2 guys in the same game parlay, or if your book does not allow that. All right, so that's a few different angles that you can take a look at. My boy Extraordinary Sports said Harden usually goes over that unless he misses a lot. Yeah, so the volume is going to be there. We just have to worry about players like Norman Powell taking away too many shots, or if Harden wants to get into his assist duffel, he's sometimes good for that. So what you might want to look at for Harden as well is his PRA line. You could see here it's at 34.5. He's averaging 39 PRAs over the last 10 games, going over this number in 8 of the last 10 games. So that's something as well you can look at. 8 rebounds, 8 assists last night. So that's not a bad look as well. All right, so that's something again for Harden. So for us today on the free 3, guys, this is what we've officially locked in. We've got the 18 plus for Harden, 20 plus for Kawhi. We have got our Lakers, or our Los Angeles parlay, I should say, Lakers and the Dodgers on the money line. And then we've got our baseball lay of Mets and the Rays. We did take an early parlay as well with the Twins on the money line and the Phillies on the money line. This is just a fade on the White Sox, a fade on the Rockies. The Twins have started off rough. They, I think, got swept in their first series. I expect a little bit of positive regression for them. They're still a very good team. They're a playoff team. And then Phillies should be able to handle the Rockies, which might be one of the worst teams in baseball. So that's what we're locking in for today's episode of the Free 3, guys. I am going to take Texas women on the money line, so do with that if you will. I'm going to add that to another play as well. And then our Nerfy of the day, our Nobu Nerfy, we cashed in yesterday for day 1. So let's see if we can hit for day 2 today, $200. I already locked that one in, so I'm going to tweak that one out and put that on the TikTok as well. All right, so that's what we got locked and loaded for today's video, guys. Appreciate you guys. Extraordinary Sports or Extraordinary Picks. Appreciate you guys. Again, if you have not tapped into my guy Extraordinary Picks' YouTube channel, make sure you guys check him out. He has a great show over there as well. I tap into his videos consistently, guys. So appreciate you guys for tapping in. And then we're going to have some hitter parlays, pitcher props. All that stuff is going to be coming throughout the year. It's a long MLB season, guys. So let's just choose our spots nice and selectively, and let's run up the bag and let's make some money. All right, guys? As always, dictate your fate. Get to that cheddar. Give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and then also drop a comment. If we sweep the board, we're going to get somebody paid. All right, guys? Appreciate y'all, and let's have a day. Later, gang.